But how many people familiar with Dr. Claude Anderson? Dr. Claude Anderson, y'all got to write this information down. We are at war. You got to understand one of the most important things you can have in war is intelligence, which explains why we're losing the war. Because we're lacking intelligence. All right. I don't mean ignorant. I mean not having proper information. Now, there's a difference in what I'm saying. But Dr. Claude Anderson wrote the book Black Labor, White Wealth, as well as Powernomics. He was the one who City Council in Detroit contracted with to put together an African American business district. The media called it African Town. That's not what he called it, but that's what the media called it, to put a negative connotation on it. But one of the things that Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, and I interviewed him November 5th on my show, my daily show, the Michael Imhotep show, he talks about how we have to be able to push agendas to our elected officials. Not after they're elected, before we elect them. Voting is important, but voting is just one portion of it, because you have to be able to use the dollars that you get from the businesses to be able to control the politicians. See, if we don't have the economics, we'll never be able to control the politicians and get what we need. And there are two ways to understand what politics is. Number one, politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, resources. It's much more than just voting. You do that once or twice a year. It's a very, very small part of it. Politics, number one, is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources. So when we look at things like government contracts that are given out, those are resources. A lot of people become millionaires through government contracts, whether it's city, county, state, or federal government, whether they do the work or not. I'm not going to go there, but whether they do the work or not, all right? Also, you have that portion, and then also the second way to understand what politics is politics is the writing of laws, the interpretation of laws, the enforcement of laws, things like this. So you're dealing with the courts, you're dealing with legislation, things like this. Those are two main ways to understand what politics is. So the understanding the history and culture allows you to understand those three sides of the pyramid. Dr. Jeffries talks about a systems analysis versus a paralysis of analysis. Okay, so I just want to share that information briefly with you. All that ties into today's principle, which is Ujima, cooperative economics. All right, we have to be able to employ our own children. Other ethnic groups can employ their children. We're going to that gas station, there's a 13-year-old behind the counter taking their money. All right, but our children have to go to other people's community to beg them to hire them. Okay? Now, yes, you have people, other ethnic groups, all ethnic groups work for corporations, things like this, but they have an economic basis in their communities and in ours that allows them to be able to employ their own people, so we have to do the same things. For people who are entrepreneurs, I encourage them to read Black Enterprise magazine. Also watch the Black Enterprise TV show, the Black Enterprise Report. Check your local listings. Bounce TV shows it, some other cable stations show it as well. I'm gonna wrap up here in just a minute. Everybody got a pamphlet that's coming around? Okay. How many people familiar with Black Wall Street? One person, two people. Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Early 1900s, African American community. They had about 600 businesses there. You had African American multimillionaires. It was Oklahoma was known as the oil capital of the world at that time. Oklahoma joined the Union in 1907, and then Black Wall Street was destroyed in June of 1921 as a race riot. You had 10 to 15,000 white people coming in, destroying Black Wall Street. There's a documentary coming out next month called, well, it's either between January and February of this year, of 2015. It's called Resurrecting Black Wall Street. And it deals a little bit with some of the history of Black Wall Street, but then also what we need to do to create a second Black Wall Street, that second renaissance, all right? I'm in that documentary, so look out for that. I did a presentation last month in Seattle, Washington, entitled Black Wall Street. I got it right here. I have like so many presentations, I can't remember all the titles. What is this? Black Wall Street, from destruction to the resurrection of economic empowerment for African Americans. So I did a lot of history. I did a lot of research on Black Wall Street in the past. I read books about it, see documentaries, things like that, read articles about it. And the documentary is coming from Your Black World Films. Anybody familiar with Dr. Boyce Watkins? He's on CNN sometimes, African American commentator. Okay, well, he's the founder of Your Black World. So he contacted me to be, I've interviewed him a number of times. He contacted me to be in that documentary. And I did a lot of extensive research preparing for that documentary. So this presentation here that I did in Seattle, this is based upon my research. Anybody familiar with the Black Freedmen Indian Treaty of 1866? The Black Freedmen Indian, nobody familiar with the Black Freedmen Indian Treaty of 1866? There's one person. That's your reparations right there. That Black Freedmen Indian Treaty, see, all 5 civilized tribes of Native Americans own black slaves. The Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians, they all own black slaves. And then when slavery ended, they didn't want to get their slaves up. Some of them didn't let them go to 1866 or 1867. Slavery ended December 1865 with the 13th Amendment. All right, but that Black Freedmen Indian Treaty gave a land of about something like 160 acres of land to those former slaves. It gave benefits to all their descendants, even up until today. It's being enforced for white Indians, but not for the descendants of the black slaves and the black Indians who were members of those tribes. Okay, so that's one of the things I deal with in the presentation, because Dr. Claude Anderson has a lawsuit against the federal government since 2006 to get that treaty enforced for African Americans. Okay, for black people, we just like the term African Americans. I use it, but hey, it's the same thing. If you're on a back road late at night, police stop you, you all the same. We know what it is. All right. All right, so we can play semantics all day. All right, so look, I'm gonna wrap up with that. I have a vendor table outside. I just want to share that information with you, but Kwanzaa is extremely important, and the most important thing about Kwanzaa is the reason why it's from December 26th to January the 1st. It's for us to take these 7 principles with us into the next year and practice them 365 days of the year. It's not to be super black for 7 days and then go back to the way we were after that and say, girl, I went to Kwanzaa, it was fantastic. No, we have to take those principles with us throughout the year. All right? So with that, I'll say Asante Sana, Mahotep, Baragani. You come see me at the table out there if you have any questions. Thanks for your attention. Peace.
Michael Imhotep, yeah, you're going to see him in February. And I told him, I said, well, we'll probably give you a 4-hour slot, you know. And that might not be enough, okay?
The presentation of Black History Month is 4.5.
Right.
This is down.
Right. But you'd be surprised at what we did not learn in schools.
Yeah.
What we were not taught in schools, okay? And still today, some books our children are being taught in still reference Christopher Columbus discovering America. He never set foot in America. Never saw America. But he's credited with discovering America. And there are books that came before Columbus, as Brother Imhotep talked about. We were here a long time. The entire continent of Africa is surrounded by water. You think we didn't know how to sail boats and make boats? You gotta be crazy. I always laugh when I listen to and watch the movie Amistad. Everybody remember Amistad? Watch that movie? Amistad? Brother took over the slave ship and, you know, then had to get the Portuguese to help them navigate back. And the Portuguese navigated them back to New York. Africa? In Africa? You can't navigate by the stars? You didn't know he wasn't going north? You didn't know which direction he was going in? I don't think so. So that's the historical correctness in even the movies that we watch that are incorrect. You know, the first time we saw Cleopatra was Elizabeth Taylor. Not so. Not so. But at any rate, there's a lot of information we don't know, and if we're not getting it to our children, other people are not educating our children. They are not educating our children. It is not in anyone's best interest to educate our children. We can talk about STEM classes or STEAM classes all we want. But if you don't know your culture, if you don't know your history, if you don't know yourself, you will be anybody and anywhere and any place will do. And never will be successful, as Imhotep talked about. We have to take control of it. We don't have a lot of time. I mean, if you look at the world we live in right now, it's really kind of shaky. I mean, you don't know what's going to be around for another 50 or 100 years. These little kids here, there might not be a world they want to live in. We're falling behind further and further and further. Educationally, you cannot lock up 2.5 million black men and think that that does not impact the black community. And we're not talking about locking them up for 30 days. We're talking about 255 years. Why would you even say that? Why would you even send somebody to 255 years? It's impossible. That's just barbaric. Okay? Now, we hear a lot about, a lot of the brothers getting shot in the street, all that. I'm with that. I'm okay. But I'm just about more than lighting candles and marching and holding hands. Because we've been doing that for a long time. And while we're marching and holding hands, another young brother gets took out. Never fails. And that just didn't start happening. I don't know how many of you can remember seeing the picture of Emmett Till in the middle of the Jet magazine. I did. So they've been killing young black boys for a long time. And we've been marching and lighting candles and holding hands for a long time. And I'm not advocating for doing anything crazy. But, that definition of insanity, to keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect to get better results, and you don't get it, that's insanity. That's insane. So, our co-founder, Bridget Hall, is a founder saying, for every 1,000 hacking at the branches of injustice, there's only one hacking at the root. Michael Brown, Tavon, all those are branches. You hack branches off, they grow back. They grow back. It's going to give us another taste of their drumming and dancing. And after that, we're going to hear from our founder, and then we're going to have our Harambe Circle. Try to get out and see the vendors outside when you can. Peace.
education. Because everybody knew what to say this time. We want to send you home with a lightened spirit. So the ladies are going to dance a little bit. And when they're finished, we're going to play a little rhythm. So you all can dance too. Because we know y'all want to dance. Y'all was dancing before. Y'all just wasn't getting up out of the seat. This time we want y'all to get up. So if it feels good to you, come on up here.